I'm Amy and I'm the owner of the Moors Group. Now, if you've made it here to our website or YouTube channel or social media, then you are probably interested in a Moors franchise or interested in franchising and just making up your mind about what sort of franchise you're looking for. And yeah, something's brought you here, and I'm sure you have a million questions buzzing around in your head. So most of the time, I would get franchisees or potential franchisees call me up, and they would have loads of questions. They'd have a whole list of questions they have to ask me first. So I thought, what better way to start helping you out was to do a presentation and hopefully answer a lot of those questions for you. And then the next stage after this would be that we would meet in person. But by the time you've watched this presentation, you'll understand me a little bit more, you'll understand the brand, you'll understand our values, and you'll kind of see where we're going, and you will know whether this is the right franchise for you. There's so many out there, there's so many different franchise opportunities available. There's not that many in the beauty space. So we've got laser clinics, we've got aesthetics clinics, there's a lot of gyms, there's a lot of cafes, there's lots of restaurants and things like that. But when it comes to beauty treatments, there's not that many. There's one in the massage space, which is massive premises, big investment, great turnover. And then you've got another skincare brand, and again, that's a full fit out model. And it's just very different to, us. We are very different. We are very, very unique. So I wanted to go through it a little bit with you and hopefully answer all those questions that you have. So let's get cracking. Now, we're going to go through introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the salons and what we've got. And then we're going to go through what franchising actually is, why you should choose Moors because we're the best, but also what makes a good franchisee. I think this is really important because it's really common that people say, oh, I haven't got the beauty experience, or I haven't got management experience, or I don't understand finance, all these things. But I'm going to go through what makes a good franchisee, and then you can decide if that is you. Location. This is really, really important to understand your location. And the location is what will make or break the Moors franchise. And I would never let you choose a location that, one, I haven't done tons of research on, and two, that I think it wouldn't work. Because I want you to be as successful. For me and my brand, I don't want a franchise that's not successful, but also for you, if you're making this investment, I want to make sure, it's my duty to make sure it's going to succeed. Cost, you need to know how much it's going to cost you and what the investment is, the whole process, the support, and any FAQs too. So let's get cracking. Like I said, promise you, it's not going to be death by PowerPoint, but by the time we've got through this, you will have a really good understanding of me, my brand, the concept, and know whether it's right for you. So Farnham was my first salon. So Farnham and Horsham are my salons. They fall under the Moors Group. I opened Farnham 10 years ago now. I ran it, I operated it, I sat there and waited for clients to come in the door. My heart and soul was in that salon. It's a very, very small salon. Now, I'm not from Farnham. I was managing the spa in Aquasana in Longley, the Centre Park Spa. Huge, huge operation. But I knew that I wanted my own salon. I knew that I wanted my own brand. I knew that I wanted my own chain. But also I needed to mess around with other people's money in the meantime. So I needed to figure out everything I needed to know. So I needed to know budgeting and finance and massive team operations. So Centre Parks was really good for that. And every job I've had in the industry is to learn to set me up for my own business. So by the time I set up Farnham, I had got experience doing openings of new spas, salon management, spa management, expertise in nails and waxing, training, you name it. I'd done everything I needed to do to be successful with my own setup. So Farnham was it. And I drove all over Surrey. I kind of knew Surrey was central to me and my boyfriend then, who's now my husband. Surrey was central. And I drove to every single town in Surrey, had a look round to decide which one was the right town for Moors. I knew what I wanted. I knew who my client was. I knew kind of the demographic that I was looking for. I wanted that commuter belt to a city, to London, but I wanted that commuter belt. I wanted the people that had worked in the city and wanted somewhere a bit fun and funky or a bit different to go to because they're used to places in London. I wanted the people that had worked in London and then moved to the suburbs to have their families. I knew my audience. And as soon as I got to Farnham, I literally drove down Castle Street and was like, this is it. This is my place. This is where I need to set up this salon. So we both moved to Farnham to set this business up. So I went there with no connections, no anything. And I needed to make sure it could work, setting up in a town that I had no connections to. So then after we'd been trading for 2 years, I knew that I needed to, it was so successful. It still is super, super successful. And I needed to know if it was just a fluke, or if I had hit the nail on the head, or if I'd really figured out, I'd got my perfect audience in the perfect place. And I needed to know if it could be replicated. So I opened Horsham, I think it was 3 years later, not quite 3 years, but I opened Horsham. And Horsham is a much bigger premises. The town is much bigger than Farnham. The demographics slightly different. And I needed to see if that could be replicated in a town, again, that I have no connection with, but also where I'm not running it. Because obviously I'd set up Farnham, so I needed to know if Horsham could be managed and replicated. And Horsham is a very different type of salon to run. We are predominantly nails in Horsham because the team are excellent at nails. So the biggest problems we've had is to make sure that we're driving enough profit within nails. And it's a much bigger premises. However, the running costs are very similar to Farnham. So we introduced laser very, very recently, and that has really boosted the revenue in Horsham. And the team are bigger. Yeah, so it's a very different salon to operate. So I've got experience in a very, very small and a much bigger salon. And both are very, very different. Both are very successful. And yeah, they're mine. They're my babies. So then the first salon, the first franchise was Hazelmere. So that's Emma, who was a nurse within the NHS. And we found that nursing skills are really easy to transfer to the beauty industry. It's that whole bedside manner, that kind of care, compassion, kindness, love for other people, and making sure people are okay and feel good about themselves and stuff. It all kind of aligns. Emma was a client of ours in Farnham for a long time, and she was the first person to set up her salon in Hazelmere. And then not long after, we had Godalming, and Gigi, that owns Godalming, actually worked for me in my Farnham salon. So she set up Godalming. And then shortly after that, Vanessa opened Petersfield, and Vanessa has got a property background, so property management, property development, fit outs of houses. She's very organised, very structured, so those skills were also very transferable to managing a team. She's got great people skills, but also PR and management. So Emma's got that nursing background. Gigi is a beauty therapist, knows the brand inside and out, but has never managed. And then we've got Vanessa, who's managed but hasn't got the beauty. So, everyone's very, very different. And Petersfield, opened soon after Godalming, and Vanessa was a client of ours for years in Farnham and was adamant she wanted a franchise. And then we've got the lovely Kriya, who opened Newbury. Now, Kriya is a nurse background as well. She has her own care company with her husband, and they have decided to both have a franchise each as well for future proofing and to bring in another income. So she kind of runs her care business from one of the treatment rooms in Newbury. Kriya didn't know the brand, didn't know us. She found us on Google and then came and met me at one of the salons and decided that this was definitely the franchise for her. So that's where we're at with the current brands or the current salons.